They lost everything. They were betrayed, enslaved, exiled. And even so, they had more balance than most people today. How is that possible? Imagine living in an empire at war, being an emperor, and still having almost no control over anything around you. That was the life of Marcus Aurelius, the greatest name in Roman Stoicism. Amid battles, betrayals, and personal losses, he wrote to himself every day, not for others, but to remind himself that true peace is not out there, it is within. This is Stoic philosophy. And today, more than ever, it can be your shield against anxiety, chaos, pressure, the feeling of helplessness that so many experience. Stoicism is not a complex, unreachable idea. It is a practice, a daily training, a way of living. It is a philosophy of resilience. Epictetus, another great name in Stoicism, was born a slave. And even so, he taught that no one could steal his inner freedom. Because as long as you have mastery over your mind, you are free. And if you do not, no matter how much you have externally, you are still a prisoner. He said, "Man is affected not by things themselves, but by the view he takes of them." This seemingly simple phrase holds a profound truth. Our emotional reality is shaped by the meaning we give to things. The same event can destroy one person and strengthen another. The difference, the perspective, the interpretation, the way of thinking. The Stoics believed that we do not control what happens to us, but we control how we react. This simple idea is powerful, because it means that even when everything falls apart, there is still something that is only yours. Your choice, your response, your perspective. And that choice is what separates chaos from peace. Seneca, the third great name in Stoicism, said that it is not that we have little time, it is that we waste much of it. Life, for him, is sufficient, but most people live as if they were immortal. Postponing everything, getting irritated over trivialities, forgetting what really matters. We lose hours, worrying about minor offenses, about other people's opinions, about things that deep down have no real weight. While we waste our time hesitating and postponing, life is passing by, he wrote. This silent urgency is a call to awaken, because time is the only asset that never returns. But how can we apply this in the modern chaos? How can we remain calm when the world is collapsing outside and within? The Stoics had simple practices: writing, reflection, negative visualization, breathing, and imagining that everything we have could disappear tomorrow and still continuing, because everything is on loan. Everything we have, everything we are, can be taken from us. The true Stoic is the one who prepares for loss and still remains whole. They had mantras, simple ideas that guided their actions. 1. Control what you can. Accept what you cannot. 2. Virtue is the only good. 3. You are responsible for your mind. For other people's opinions do not define who you are. 5. Nothing external can harm you without your permission. These phrases change lives, because they remind you that the center of your existence is not in what happens, but in what you choose to do with what happens. While everyone runs like leaves in the wind, the Stoic stands like a rooted tree. Today, we are taught to chase everything: success, fame, status, perfection. But the Stoics would say, all of this is fleeting. And as long as you place your happiness in something that can be taken away, you become vulnerable, a hostage. Everything that depends on external factors is unstable. And everything unstable cannot be the foundation of happiness. True strength lies in tranquility, in discernment, in being firm like a rock when everything becomes a storm. The world can fall around you, but if your mind is firm, you remain standing. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is within your reach, why complain? If it is not, why worry?" This simple logic dismantles the unnecessary drama we create, because it invites us to act where we have power and let go where we do not. It is a clear division. What can I control? What can I not? Clarity comes from the answer. Other thinkers also echoed Stoic ideas. Viktor Frankl, an Austrian psychiatrist who survived Nazi concentration camps, wrote, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose our response." And in our response lies our growth and our freedom, he discovered in practice what the Stoics had preached for centuries. Even in hell, human dignity can endure. Imagine if you applied this in your daily life. Traffic, it is not under your control, but your reaction is negative comment. It does not depend on you. But your choice to respond or ignore does. An unfair criticism can hurt you, or it can teach you. You decide. Always. Stoicism is a philosophy of interaction. It is not passivity, it is mastery. It is not the denial of emotion, it is emotional maturity. To feel and still choose not to be dominated. A Stoic person feels sadness, pain, anger, but chooses what to do with it. And it is that choice that liberates. Epictetus said, "It is not events that disturb us, but the judgments we make about them." That is, what stresses you is not the fact itself. It is the meaning you attribute to it. Lost a job? It can be a catastrophe or a chance for a new beginning. Rejected. It can be humiliation or a lesson. Alone? It can be abandonment or freedom. Everything depends on perspective, and changing your perspective is a daily choice, a practice, a training. Nietzsche, although not a Stoic, had a thought that deeply resonates with the idea of inner mastery. Said, "He who has a why can endure any how." When we have a strong purpose, we endure any pain. This is the foundation of resilience. And resilience is a Stoic virtue. The world out there may be uncontrollable, but the world within can be trained. Stoicism is the method. A method that requires no rituals, no temples, no gurus, only discipline and courage. That is why, even in the face of death, the Stoics remained serene, because they knew that death is not a tragedy, it is part of nature. Fighting against what is natural is the greatest mistake of the human mind. Everything that is born dies. Everything that begins ends. And the sooner we accept this, the lighter the path will be. A mind at peace is not one that ignores suffering. It is one that understands suffering is inevitable and chooses to grow with it. Seneca said, "Imaginary suffering is worse than real suffering." Most of our pain lies in anticipation, in projection, in fear of what might happen. The Stoic responds, "Return to now. Do what is within your reach today, and let go of the rest." Want to practice Stoicism now? Grab paper and pen. Write down 3 things you do not control, but insist on trying to control. Then write 3 things you really can change, but are not changing. This simple practice can turn your life upside down, because it brings you back to reality, to the present, to concrete action. You cannot control other people's opinions, but you can control your self-image. You cannot control the future, but you can control your preparation. You cannot control luck, but you can control your effort. Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus. These 3 men who lived in harsh, chaotic, violent times, but who found, within themselves, a fortress, a peace that depended on no one, a peace that did not need permission. And if you think it is impossible to apply this today, think again. Today we have more comfort than any Roman emperor, but less peace than a Stoic slave. The problem is not the world, it is what we do with it. External chaos will always exist, but internal chaos is optional, and that option is in your hands. Do not wait for calm to find balance. Find balance to deal with any storm, because your mind is still yours. And the secret of the Stoics is to remember that every day you can start now. Take a deep breath, accept what is not under your control, and act with courage where it is, because that is the only true freedom. The freedom to master yourself. This freedom is not for sale. It is not found in books. It is in daily practice. In the awareness that each thought is a seed, and what you plant in your mind defines what blooms in your life. Reflect on this. How many times this week did you get angry about something that was not under your control? How many times were you hurt by something that perhaps had nothing to do with you? And how many of those pains could have been avoided with a simple thought? This is not under my control. Imagine now a world where people lived by this principle. Less reactivity, less shouting, fewer pointless arguments, more silence, more listening, more intentional action. This is not utopia. It is possible, and it starts with you. Epictetus, who taught even while being a slave, said, "If someone can upset you, it is because you allowed yourself to be disturbed. This sentence is a blade. It cuts through the ego and reveals the truth. You are responsible for your serenity, not others, not the environment. Perhaps your peace of mind begins with the courage to take responsibility for it. Because as long as you blame others, you will always be at their mercy. But when you take command, nothing can easily knock you off balance. And maybe that is why the Stoics wrote so much. Not to show wisdom, but to remind themselves. Every day. Because the mind forgets, emotion screams, and it is easy to get lost. So reflect, return to yourself every day. This is the Stoic practice. And in the end, this is the well-lived life. The life of those who have learned to live from within. You can be that person right now.